Employment and Labour Minister Thulas Nxesi held an engagement with the residents of Mitchell's Plain in Cape Town. The discussion on the Employment Equity Act focused on the pressing issue of unemployment in the township. But in a surprising turn of events, the audience stood up and left in frustration midway through the minister's address. They accused him of failing to understand the hardships faced by the poor and unemployed coloured community. Newzroom Afrika's Nasiphi was there.
We want our kids in jobs before the gangs give them jobs. The number one employer on these Cape Flats is the gangster, is the drug dealer. Why am I the only person seeing something wrong with this? People are duck. We are gut full of the lies. Our children die tonight on these Cape Flats, 10 at a time, because there's no work, because there's no hope. And this man is here to sell hope. They don't care about coloured lives, they care about coloured votes.
The atmosphere at the Employment Equity Act engagement with Employment and Labour Minister Thulas Nxesi shifted drastically when, midway through his speech, residents expressed their frustration and walked out. In the midst of all of this, unemployed individuals like Newzroom continue to face difficulties to access vital resources like his unemployment insurance fund for 2 years.
So instead of addressing the issues at hand with the UIF problems and how he's going to fix the debacle in terms of the UIF payments and stuff, and why people are unemployed and all that stuff, instead he actually just pivoted or deviated to giving us a lecture about history of South Africa, of which we actually know our history, and not actually diving into the issue at hand. Instead of doing that, he kind of moved away to giving us a lecture about history and morality and people from Lesotho. And I'm like, look around, you're in the Western Cape, not in Lesotho. So you need to talk about problems that actually are happening in the Western Cape than in Lesotho or people jumping the borders, of which that is a Home Affairs issue, not a Labour issue.
The frustration was also echoed by the National Coloured Congress, accusing the national and provincial government of failing the coloured community. Its leader argues that despite existing policies promoting employment equity, the practical implementation is non-existent.
The minister doesn't have any answers for us. When we shut down business to force them to honour the Constitution and employment equity to employ X amount of coloureds, we got taken to court by the Democratic Alliance. The ANC and the DA need to come out and admit that they are bed partners when it comes to the oppression of the coloured child. Are we not deserving? Hey? You will see my anger, because we expected more from a black government. We expected more from a party that said it was non-racial.
In response to the criticism, Minister Nxesi defended the engagements, saying that the engagement was successful despite the heated reaction from some audience.
It was very clear the intention was to disrupt. And unfortunately, they tend to receive more attention than the content of what is being debated. We're talking about two issues. The Employment Equity Act, the amendments. How are we nudging the employers to be able to move in terms of the transformation? But the President has allowed for this process of engaging the communities, listening to the concerns which people are raising.
For Newzroom Afrika on Channel 405, I'm Nasiphi in Mitchell's Plain.